Welcome back to my channel. I'm here. I actually said I was going to do 2 parts, but I'm actually going to do 3 parts to my kind of battling anorexia. This one will be shorter. This is just kind of an understanding anorexia, like understanding what it is, because I feel like, you know, there might be some misconceptions, or, you know, you might know someone who's struggling with it and you would just like to understand it a little bit better. So I'm here to help you do that. So anorexia is obviously a mental illness, but it has many physical effects. So number one, I'm going to say with anorexia is there is no body weight that makes you anorexic. You know, when I was first ill, I was very much still a healthy weight to other people. It was the fact that I'd lost so much weight so quickly. That is how I affected my organs so badly and how I almost died of a heart attack. You know, I think I was like 65 kg. I mean, that's maybe like 63. Anyway, you know, I was still, you know, my mid-60s. That to many people is a normal body weight, but for me, I'd lost so much weight so quickly, I nearly died. There's people who, you know, you might look at and go, oh, there's nothing wrong with them. They could be struggling so badly in their head. It is a mental illness. There is no body size, there's no body shape. It takes forms in so many different types of bodies. You know, when I rapidly gained weight when I was on a meal plan, I was the heaviest I'd ever been, but I was probably as ill as I'd ever been in my head. Nobody would look at me and go, oh, she's anorexic. If you knew what was going on in my head, bloody hell you would say I was. But, you know, it is a mental illness. So that is number one. Please don't judge someone or think, oh, they're doing it for attention, or oh my god, they're lying, just because, you know, they're not that stereotypical, old, cliched, emaciated body with a tube in their nose. Any size, any size. I think I read on Beat Eating Disorders website that this is just this is a guesstimate. They actually can't work out how many people there are, but there is an estimated 1.25 million people in the UK with an eating disorder. That is terrifying. And they don't think that that's actually anywhere near the number, because it's very hard to collect the data on it. You know, and it's not just females, it's male and female. It can start, there's 5,000 estimated cases for females aged 5 to 10, which literally makes me want to cry. Males aged 5 to 10, 12,300. So even more for males. So I mean, there is no age, there's no look, there's no ethnicity, there's no sex, there's, you know, anybody can suffer from an eating disorder, anyone can develop at any age. There are no stereotypes with anorexia or any other eating disorder that goes along with it. Also, you know, it can develop out of anywhere. So for me, it wasn't like I want to lose weight and be skinny as possible. I fell into, like, it turned into that. From being, I just want to get really fit for my sport, it turned into then being addicted to weight loss. Like, that is actually no other way I can describe anorexia other than an addiction to weight loss. For me, and a lot of people. You know, people get addicted to alcohol, they get addicted to drugs. I was literally addicted to losing weight. You know, when I saw the number go down on a scale, it literally gave me a buzz. There is no other way to describe it. I literally felt like I got high off seeing a number on the scale go down. And it lasted like 30 seconds and I'd be like, right, I want it to go down further. You know, that is literally what it is. It is an addiction. The way you choose to restrict can be many different ways. For some people it's food, they restrict their food. Other people, you know, it might look like they eat a normal amount. You know, it doesn't have to just be lettuce leaves. It could be a normal amount, but they compensate through exercising. They go and like run a marathon to burn it all off. You know, secret, I used to exercise. If I woke up during the night, I saw that as a sign of, oh, I'm meant to be exercising, so I do X amount of push-ups and press-ups and sit-ups and whatever. Like, crazy, I know, but you might take laxatives, you might purge. Like, there's so many different ways to you choose to compensate for your food. If you with restriction, there is no one way fits all. I genuinely don't think people quite realize as well how, like, the physical effects it has on your bodies. I'll read off the Beat website. the effects. So these are the long-term effects: loss of bone density, osteoporosis, erosion of tooth enamel, difficulty conceiving, so infertility, heart problems, me, damage to other organs such as the kidneys, bowels and liver, weakened immune system. So yeah, I could catch a cold literally every second week because I had no immune system. Delayed onset of puberty or stunted growth in children. So if they develop anorexia or an eating disorder in early years, and yeah, it can be fatal. There are many cases where people have died. You know, there's famous one you probably heard is Nikki Graham of I'm sure it's Nikki Graham, is that her name right, of Big Brother. Not that long ago she died over anorexia. It is got the highest fatality rate of eating disorders. It is literally terrifying. And you know, some of the other effects that I had when I was struggling, you know, brain fog. I couldn't read a book. I was so fixated on losing weight in my body, I couldn't concentrate on a book. I couldn't concentrate on a TV. I'd watch a TV program and I'd actually be clueless on what had happened because I just couldn't concentrate on it. I was addicted to food shows. That was actually one of the things that Cam's banned me from watching, was MasterChef, The Great British Bake Off, literally random YouTube videos of people just making food, because you become so obsessed with food and you're not letting yourself have it. So you're like, you know what, okay, I'm just gonna watch it. So yeah, I was banned from watching that. You will find ways to fixate on food. You know, you go to bed, you will dream about it. You will think about it 24/7 until you give your body that absolute freedom to eat whatever it likes. You will bake, you will cook, and you will give it to everyone else but not you. It is all consuming. Here's another one. I don't think you're actually gonna see it in this lighting, but I grew so much hair. Let's see, will it focus on my hair? No, Darcy, you just look like an idiot. Basically, all over my arms, I have this really, really thin, like fluffy hairs all over my arm, and it's mostly visible on my arms, but I mean it was over the rest of my body and on my stomach and stuff. You develop this hair fluff basically that your body does in response to starvation to try to keep your body warm. Crazy. The body is a crazy thing. So yeah, when I get really cold now, all this hair stands up on end and I do look part bare. That is a side effect. My hair was falling out. I brushed my hair and literally clumps of it would come out. That is really not attractive. It's such an unattractive illness. And I don't think people realize the bits that come with it. You know, I lost my period for like 2.5 years. I had no period. That's not a good thing. It's such a bad thing, and that's what leads to, you know, osteoporosis. It's so bad. And you know, it definitely does sometimes get glamorized, especially like on TikTok. And I remember when like there was a period of time where, like, I mean, that was always coming up, was people either they're what I eat in a day, and they'd be like 400 calories. I'm like, why are you, don't project this on people. Like, social media can be such a good thing, but it can be such a toxic thing, and it can glamorize such bad toxic things. And even, you know, your favorite influencers, we're not going to name names, but like, people struggle, and you know, you might not know they're struggling, and I, you know, little innocent me will look at them and go, oh my god, I want to look like that. Unaware that they're struggling too, but you know, there's social media is such a highlight reel. It's such a look at me in this bikini, but I might not know that they think they look awful. I'm just thinking, damn, I want to look like her. It is such a thing that does get glamorized, and people are so unaware of the physical, long-term mental impact it can have. And not only that, the impact it has on your relationships with people is horrendous. You know, I don't think I would lie. Well, I know for a fact, I have never been such a manipulative and such a liar in my whole life as anorexia made me. You know, you would find ways to lie no matter what. You'd manipulate and you could do anything as long as it meant you didn't have to eat this piece of food to lie. So you're like, oh, I ate, I'm not hungry, I ate earlier, I ate with this person. It's so easy, and it's so detrimental to so many relationships, like with your family, with your friends. You will push your friends away and you will isolate yourself because you just want to be in your bubble of food thoughts. You don't want to hear about some petty school drama because it's all about you. Just in your brain, it's all about you. You don't want other people, and it's so horrible to your relationships. And we're not going to cry again, but it's awful, and people don't realize how isolating and just how emotionally draining it is for you and for other people as well. And my battery's about to die. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, we're good. Yeah, anorexia just, and every other eating disorder, it is just so everywhere it is just there, you know. It affects everything, no matter what it is. And the thing with me is I hate being a burden. I hate feeling like I'm asking for something, or, you know, I hate feeling like I'm putting someone out their way to do something. And the thing with when you're struggling and people know you're struggling, it's all like, it becomes very much like, will Darcy be okay with this? Will Darcy eat this? Will she be able to eat this? Where can we go that she will actually eat something? You know, and I hate that feeling of just feeling like you're a burden, and just feeling like you're, you know, you're upsetting others, or, you know, you're making people go out their way to do stuff. And, you know, like, I'd always be like, oh no, it's fine, I'll eat anything, and then would get there and I'd be like, oh my god, I want to cry inside. But you do feel like a burden. And if you're struggling, like, I'm not just gonna say like, don't feel like a burden, because I mean, you probably will, and you'll probably hate yourself for the way, you know, you're maybe lying to your mom or lying to your dad, or it's a very sneaky, manipulative, toxic illness, and it can make you do crazy things, very crazy things, but just know that it's not you. I remember my family would say that all the time. They'd be like, Darcy, we know this isn't you, we know this isn't you. And I mean, it's true, it's not you, it's not you as a person. It wasn't me, it wasn't Darcy, you know, it was that voice in my head. Because that's what it is. Anorexia is a voice in your head saying, you know what, you can eat less than that, you can eat this amount, you can exercise this amount, you know, you don't need that, you need this, you know, your thighs look fat, your stomach looks fat, your hips are too wide. You know, there's always something, no matter what it is, this thing, you know, you can lose all the weight, but it will never be enough. It will never, I never once looked in the mirror, no matter to the lowest weight I got, it was never enough. It was never like, oh yeah, I look good now. You know, you'll always hate yourself. You always find something you hate. And I remembered actually, I would get post-it notes, and I would write, you know, your thighs are fat, thunder thighs, you know. I'd write the most toxic things I could think to say to myself, and I'd put them around my room so that I'd always see them, and I'd always think it, and I'd always be reminded in case I ever accidentally would think to eat too much. I'd write it again so I wouldn't forget. It's just, oh my goodness, it was horrible, you know. Or I would wear clothes that were too tight on me to like remind myself of that feeling that they were too tight, so that I wouldn't eat too much. I don't even know if that made sense, but you know, it just, it's something you would not wish on your worst enemy, because it's so horrible. It is so horrible. And I mean, to this day, it does still affect me in some things, but I've learned, you learn to understand your brain. You know, I know when I get upset or stressed, my immediate, it's not like, oh, I'm not gonna eat. My immediate thing is my appetite actually just goes. And I've learned to be aware of that, and to know like, well, no, you still have to eat, because you are not going down that path again. Yeah, it's something that just, it affects so many people. Like 1.2 million isn't even going to be close to it, and I'm sure the pandemic escalated things so much. And like, I know I had friends who were struggling, and they would either be put on a waiting list for cams because there was too many people. And I mean, like, in this situation, I mean, it's not their fault, it's not cams' fault, but like, nobody should be put on a waiting list. because what, you're just gonna keep getting worse until you're seen. Like, it's crazy. It's one of those things that, I mean, how do you face this like epidemic of eating disorders? But it's something that, you know, it's taken me 4 years. Some people it takes them a decade. Some people they never. That's the thing that terrified me. There was literally people who I'd seen, they were in their 50s and they'd been struggling since they were a teen, and I was like, that there is nothing more terrifying in the world than that. As I refuse to live like this for another 40 years, because, you know, it had taken so much away from my life in that 4-year period that I was like, I am not doing this for another 40. Because it ruined so much of my life and relationships, and, you know, like, and I do think, like, if I had never gotten ill, like, obviously I would have stayed at school, I would have still been playing high level hockey, like, what, like, where would I be? But I also do believe, I have to believe it, that everything does happen for a reason, because otherwise I will cry. And I mean, like, without it, I wouldn't have had 3 of my best friends and my boyfriend. Like, I wouldn't have had those relationships. And I do not think I'd be in a place where, you know, I can help other people and I can be like, I can tell them how I struggled and what I went through, but that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I can help them on how to get there. But damn, anorexia is a bitch, let me tell you. A bitch. But I always will say, if I can get to the end of it, if I can recover, don't get me wrong, I do still have my days, but I know how to cope with them. If I can get to the end, you can too. Anyone can. It's just, it's a lot. It is a lot, and it is all consuming, as I have said, but it is possible, I promise. Once again, this was just a little short. I just wanted to give a little insight into like what it actually is like. But if you have any questions or anything you want me to talk about, please do comment them down below. I would love to make this like a little series. I know this isn't for everyone, but for those people that is, and it will help. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope you do stay. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, or if you like any of the other videos on my challenge, on my what is this called, a channel. They are normally kind of food challenges and vlogs, but this is definitely something that I just want to make a little mini series to help those that it will. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.